Myself. Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm a verbal branding expert, helping you attract attention, wow audiences, and kick imposter syndrome to the curb. That's my jam, so that you can get to yes. And I'm glad you're here. Let's connect. So let's see. I see Shirley and Roman and Thomas. And of course, if I say your name incorrectly, just ask to come up on stage and correct me. Welcome, Peter. Yeah, at any point, you can hit a react button, give me an icon, let me know if you can hear me, or ask to come on the stage. It's interactive. And today, we're going to be talking about respect. And to help me out with the theme of respect, I have a little piece of music here I'd like to play with you. Play for you. Here we go. There it is. You know that song. That's Aretha Franklin singing about respect, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And today we are talking about the 7 simple habits you can use to capture attention and command respect without saying a word. Without saying a word, so that you can be seen and recognized for the value you offer. Who is ready for that? Hit the react button, give me some icons. Give me hearts, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, if you're ready to learn more. Let's see any reactions there. Thank you, Roman. Thank you, Peter. And hello, Simone. Welcome to the group. So come on, we're going to be talking about lifting up your voice. And today we'll be talking about communication skills and taking your communication skills to the next level, because I believe in my heart of hearts that you have value to offer. You have the knowledge and experience that people want to hear. So, I mean, just by being here on LinkedIn and being here today, I know this. And so by just keeping quiet, letting your comments being brushed aside, or not showing up, not sharing what you have with others, well, it's actually, in the words of my 5-year-old daughter, it's unfair. It's unfair. It's wrong. It's selfish. So let's dig in. And today I'm going to guide you through the 7 proven habits to effortlessly, I love that word, effortlessly control attention, command respect, and exude confidence. Exude confidence means to share it around. Just let people know you feel confident and help others around you feel confident without being loud, obnoxious, or memorizing weird scripts. In fact, you don't even have to say a word. Most of these are nonverbal. And that's what I'm all about, and what we're about to talk with ECM is proven ways to boost your reputation, establish yourself as an authority in your field, and rise above any awkward situation. And just so you know, I'm going to be packaging this all up in a PDF LinkedIn carousel. So send me a heart in a DM, give me some love, send me a private message, and I'll be sure and send you the link to make sure you have that at the end so you don't have to focus on taking notes Now, as I mentioned, this is going to be an interactive session. So that means if you have questions, comments, something you want to add from your own experience, simply, ask to speak. I'll bring you up on the stage. Oh, my computer did something interesting there. I'll bring you up on the stage and we'll discuss, we'll talk, and it's as simple as that. So here we go, the 7 habits to get the attention and respect you want. Who is ready? Give me some icons for that. Now this is lunch. You might be eating at the same time or taking a drink, whatever it is. Let's go through those simple habits. Peter, thank you for that. Roman, yes, thank you. Let's start with number one. Or before I start, are there any questions? Anything someone wants to say, something specific before we start? Any problems, concerns? All right. So let's begin with number 1. And the first thing I want to talk about, now this is going to be tricky in audio, but I'm up for the challenge. Number 1, this first section is about capturing attention of others, and it's hand gestures. There is a group called The Science of People, and they did a study of TED Talks. TED Talks are pretty popular. Many people like to watch them online and YouTube, things like that. And TED Talks, they watched to see which TED Talks have the most views, and they were looking for what are the patterns, what do they all have in common that the ones with the least amount of views have. And believe it or not, it's not about the topics, it's not the subject matter, but actually one thing they found that correlates and makes a clear pattern is the number of hand gestures the speakers used. Hand gestures, it just draws other humans in and it makes us want to listen and know more. So what do I mean by hand gestures? I'm talking about getting your arms, if you want to try this with me. I mean, this isn't a video or a Zoom call, so you can feel free to move about without any of us seeing. And what we want to do is move your arms up and away from your body and show your palms, show empty palms. These are often the most effective hand gestures that let people know I'm about to say something and it's something you want to listen to. In fact, if you want to capture attention in a group of people without screaming or begging for attention or raising your voice, do something. This is something I challenge each of you to try, is something that I like to call a pre-gesture. So it's a hand gesture before you even start speaking. That is, you pre-gesture. You make this hand gesture, show your palms, move your arms away from your body, make a gesture that will alert others around you you're about to say something. You capture your attention and you hold their attention. They draw in to listen more. So this is something I highly recommend you try in your next meeting or even an informal group conversation. If you're trying to get a break in the conversation, you want to offer something, you have something of value to add, pre-gesture, which is a visual contact, a cue to others that you're about to speak. So that one is one I really like to do. It's a great way to capture attention without being loud or obnoxious. Number 2, before I move on, are there any questions about that? Anyone have experience with that? They'd like to raise their hand. Just raise your hand and I'll welcome you right up to the stage. How do you raise your hand when I can't see you? Just press that react button and do the icon. That's great. Let me know you're there. Number 2, the second habit that experts use to capture attention is using pauses intentionally. Using pauses intentionally. Sorry about that. So pauses are so important when we're speaking. Otherwise, you just become a whole, just a barrage of sound, and it's difficult for people to listen and understand what you're saying. Besides the fact we run out of breath, right? So it's important to pause and intentionally. What do I mean by intentionally? Well, often when we are speaking or thinking out loud, we often pause at the end of a sentence. So if you're writing, that's when the period comes, right? The period, the thought ends, and we pause there. We gather our breath for the next sentence or next idea. This is typical. This is what we do without thinking about it. But a specific strategy that I find super helpful is to pause mid-sentence rather than at the end of the sentence, to pause in the middle of the sentence. Do you see how I did that a little bit there? It gives me a second to gather my breath, gather my thoughts, focus my listening, and yet avoids having the conversation moving on before I'm finished. I find this is especially helpful when I'm speaking in another language, in a language maybe I'm not as confident in. And often when I finish a sentence, because I speak maybe a little bit slower than others, they move on and the conversation moves on and I can't finish my idea. And so I find that pausing mid-sentence, people are left with this unfinished feeling and they lean in to hear how you're going to finish your thought. This also can add humor to what we're saying. And I think this is brilliant. Something that may not be so funny gets an added layer of humor with a pause placed in the right position. I'm going to give you an example from a song from a local group where I'm from originally, trout fishing in America. That's not so important right now. What's important is the idea. So I'm going to say the phrases and then put in the pause so you can hear that. So here it is. It's 1 and 1 and 1 is 3. I love you and you love somebody else. Did you hear that? I paused right before the punchline there, and it created this anticipation. Because of rhyming, it's from a song, we think 1 and 1 and 1 is 3. I love you and you love me is the idea that we think should be there. But then after the pause, I twist it, somebody else, and that adds the humor there. So that's a fun way to use pauses to add an extra layer of humor. So that's simple habit 1 and 2, to think about your pauses. Think about hand gestures, especially those pre-gestures. So tell me, lots of quietness here. Is there anything you like, something interesting, maybe something you've used in your own life, a story you want to share? Give me some hearts. Let me know you can hear me, or a thumbs up, clapping. What do we have? We have a thumbs up, we have laughing, clapping, and a heart. So let me know you're here. Let me know that the sound is working. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Peter. Great, great, great. Good to know you're still here. Number 3, eye contact. Now, thank you, Thomas. I see that thumbs up. Great, thank you. Good to have you here. And as I mentioned, if you want to step up on stage, just press the request to speak button and we'll bring you up. For questions, comments, or if you want to share a story from your own experience. Number 3, eye contact. Now, most of us know that 100% eye contact is just creepy, especially if you don't even blink, right? It's almost not even human. So we don't really want to do that. But what I encourage you to do, and what I do myself, is experiment. I experiment with eye contact. What do I mean by that? By experimenting, I mean I try doing a little bit too much, a little bit too little, and try and watch how people react to that. It's not important to be perfect every single time, but just experimenting, watching how people react. A great example, I had a client who was experimenting with this, and she told me that, she felt she was being creepy, doing too much eye contact, holding eye contact for much too long, and then she realized people were responding positively to it, meaning that actually it's good to push it a little further if you're not doing enough. Eye contact is the way for us to connect to others on a deeper level. So that's great. Now, one thing I'd like to tell you about today, and what I plan to share, is a specific tactic that uses a boomerang effect. And if you know a boomerang, it's kind of a angled L-shape type thing that you throw. It's not a frisbee, it's not a ball, it's a boomerang, and you throw it out, it circles around and comes back to you. That's the boomerang effect, something that goes around and comes back to you. And so I like to think about this when I'm talking about eye contact etiquette or eye contact techniques, and think about it in 3 steps. So first you send it out, you look away, it goes away, and then it comes back to you, is how a boomerang works. So what do I mean by applying that to eye contact? Now for this, again, I encourage you to experiment, test it out, try it for yourself. Let me know if it works. Let me know what kind of response you get from people as you use it. But a great way or a great technique I use for eye contact is to take it in a 3-step method, thinking about that boomerang. And the first step is to establish eye contact. So look at the person's eyes. Make eye contact. Start with eye contact on. And start your sentence. Start speaking about something. Or if you're listening, it can be the same. Listen to them as they speak about something. But then at a certain point, your brain and your thinking, either if you're speaking, you're going to gather your thoughts, or if they're speaking, you're going to consider what they're saying. At this point, it's comfortable to look away. As humans, when we think, we often look away. We can look up, to the side, down, because we're not focused so much on what we're seeing, but we're focused more internally on our thoughts. So it's a natural response to look away for a short bit of time. And then step 3 is to come back. Come back and reestablish that eye contact. So that's the boomerang effect with eye contact. It's very natural. It's very comfortable. It's expected. in a way, and it helps establish that connection between you and the person you're speaking with. Now, if I use that same rhyme from the previous one, oh, Thomas, I see that you want to speak. I'm going to bring you up to the stage. And I'm going to finish this one thought and ask you to stay muted, and then I'm going to open up the floor for you to speak. So I believe I did. Yes, you're up here. You're muted. Let me just finish this thought, and then I'm going to welcome you to speak. So if I use that same rhyme, the 1 and 1 and 1 is 3. I love you and you love. Now, during this whole part would be the first step of the eye contact. So I'd be establishing eye contact without video. It's kind of hard to demonstrate these nonverbals, but we're doing our best. And then at the pause, so 1 and 1 and 1 is 3. I love you and you love. At this pause, I'm thinking. I'm searching for the answer. I'm going to look away. I'm going to expand that pause, that intentional pause, and then bring the eye contact back for the punchline, somebody else. So that's a great way to use those two tactics together. So Thomas, please turn off your mic and let's talk.
Hey Elizabeth.
Welcome.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I just had to say I like the analogy with the boomerang. Obviously, that's from my home country.
I was going to say, I hear something a little bit Australian in your voice. Are you calling from Australia?
Yeah, a little bit. I can pretend to be Canadian or American, but I am from Australia. But I actually have to apologise. I have to actually leave this call, but I just wanted to say it was nice to hear the first 15 minutes, and I hope that next time you're on, I'll be able to stay longer. But I've been succumbed because it's 8:17 p.m. and I think my wife wants me to watch a movie with her. But
oh, that's nice.
I think it's a good topic, and certainly if you're speaking, you certainly give some good ideas about capturing attention and commanding respect, and especially the pause.
Yes.
I think it's very powerful to pause at different times in your articulation.
Thank you for that. And thank you for being here and coming up on stage. I just want to mention, I think you weren't here quite at the start, but I am going to package it all up into a PDF in some notes. So if you want to just send me a private message, I can send that to you so you can get the other points, even though you have to leave.
That would be great.
Yeah? Great.
And I know Shirley, and she's a good person listening, so I'm sure she will have lots of questions for you later on.
Excellent. So glad to hear it.
All right. Thank you again, and apologies I have to leave.
No, it's all good. I'm glad you were able to join us and enjoy the time with your wife.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
All right. Have a good one.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay. So Shirley and Peter, I guess we will continue. That was really nice to have him up here talking as well. So, so that was number 3. So we've been through the first 3, which is all about capturing attention without being loud or obnoxious, which from personal experience, I can tell you doesn't work anyway. So these are much more effective. Number 4, the fourth habit I want to share with you is more focused on respect and establishing yourself as someone who people want to respect just naturally. And this one comes, number 4 is about praise, because we often get praise, whether it's at work or in sports or group projects, like throughout our lives, for whatever reason, whatever we're doing, people will notice what we're doing and give praise. And this often creates a weird situation. People don't know how to respond. If you're like, oh yeah, thanks, I'm awesome, that feels awkward, but yet deflecting it doesn't work as easily either. So I want to talk about a graceful way to accept praise for yourself while elevating others. This is a great way to also raise your respect not only for others, but also for yourself, and people will respect you for it. The really amazing thing about praise is that it's a lot like love. You know, the more you share it, the more there is. It's not a limited sum pie. And so there's no point in being stingy about giving praise, at least not in my opinion. Now, people say that's because I'm American and we praise everything. But if there's something worth being praised, then I think we should shine a light on it and praise it, because there's certainly enough negativity in the world as well. And give credit where credit is due. So again, being able to accept praise for yourself and then elevating others around you, elevating the people who helped you accomplish whatever it is that you're getting praise for. If you want to find examples of this, I mean, certainly any of the movie stars that get awards for the Oscars or what have you, we can see great examples of this. They say, thank you very much. This means a lot to me. Your words touch me in my heart. I appreciate this praise. And then I also want to say thank you for, and then they mention the other people who helped them accomplish that goal. Hello, Roman. Welcome back. Glad to have you back. And we are on number four. And we're talking about praise. And by sharing praise or forwarding praise to others or praising others is a great way to win points for yourself for humility, team spirit, and achievement. So it's an all-around kind of good situation. So that is number 4, a way to shine a light on yourself as well as others and gain respect. Now, I want to shift into confidence. Again, if anyone wants to raise your hand or speak or share a story, maybe sometime when you had to deal with receiving praise, just let me know and I'll bring you up on the stage and we can talk about it. Easy as that. And again, if you want the notes from this, just send me a private message. Let me know. You can just drop a heart or any kind of icon and I'll know that means you want the notes. Good. Number 5, moving into confidence. Hey, Peter, thanks for that heart. Great. I will certainly send you the notes. That is great. And I appreciate the love, giving me the love. That's praise right there. That's praise. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. Number 5. This, we're moving into confidence. So when you're in a group situation or in an interview or in a live situation or even in a video call, with an audio situation like today, it's not so applicable, but it does still apply, believe it or not, with nonverbal attitude. But it's all about sitting asymmetrically. Sitting asymmetrically. What do I mean by that? So the right and proper way to sit is to sit up tall and straight and clear, but I'm telling you not to do that. What's going on here? I'm asking you to lean back and take up space. If you watch talk shows or things like that, watch how people sit when they're being interviewed on a talk show, on Oprah, or any. Pick your talk show. Watch how people sit. When they lean back and take up space, this is a nonverbal cue saying, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable in my body. I'm comfortable in this space. Even though they may be nervous, it doesn't matter. Just take up that space, relax, and sit asymmetrically. This is also really useful for job interviews. I speak to my clients about that. Don't be afraid to take up the space. This is a great nonverbal cue to say, I'm comfortable and I'm listening. I'm engaged. Whether you're sitting in silence or you can have mirror questions, you don't have to say a lot to communicate those values, just by how you sit and how you hold your body. So that is number 5. Just a quick review of everything we've gone through. Actually, Roman wants to speak, so I'm going to bring him right up on the stage. Hi, Roman. Do you have something to add about number 5 and sitting asymmetrically?
Actually, I do have a question. So where would you say is the line between showing or observing that somebody is comfortable, or showing being comfortable, and showing non-interest or observing non-interest? Because I think from a visual clue, they are quite close to each other.
I really appreciate that. Absolutely. That boundary, it's almost a hairline, isn't it? A hair width. So for me, a huge indicator that someone's listening kind of reflects back to number 3, the eye contact. So if I'm sitting in a relaxed way, or if I see you sitting in a relaxed way and taking up space, maybe with legs, kind of crossed or leaning on one shoulder, but you're leaning forward and connecting with me with eye contact, to me that indicates that you're interested and you're listening. However, if you're kind of looking around the room, maybe twiddling your fingers, these are things, or looking in your cell phone, for example, these would be indications to me that exactly what you mentioned before, bored and disinterested, maybe looking for distractions. Is that helpful?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thanks.
And I really appreciate you raising that question. And that's something we can even add as a special footnote there with the sitting asymmetrically. This is about the body, but the underlining the importance of that engaged eye contact and how it really makes it extra important here. So I really appreciate that question. Great. So just to review the 5 that we've covered so far, the 5 simple habits: capture attention and command respect without saying a single word. Number 1 was we talked about hand gestures, especially pre-gestures, to capture attention. Number 2...
You can kick me back.
Okay. So that's something you can't do yourself. Good to know. Move to listening. Thank you for sharing with us today, Roman. So number 2 is pausing intentionally. Number 3, eye contact. And we talked specifically about the boomerang effect. Number 4, praise and how to accept praise for yourself and elevate others. Number 5, sit asymmetrically, which I think any piano teacher would cringe to hear me say this, but I'm not teaching you how to play piano. In fact, I can't play piano. And number 6. Now this one really is focused on confidence, exuding confidence, like spreading confidence, having enough confidence for yourself and helping spreading it around to the others around you, to share it with others so you can all create a more comfortable space. And number 6 is non-reactive. Now this sounds a little bit counterintuitive. Non-reactive, you just said be engaged with eye contact and things like that. Elizabeth, what is going on? And what I mean specifically about non-reactive in this case is when you're in a tense situation, when you're being criticized or attacked. So when this is happening, now is a good time to, for me, I like to think about the bigger picture. When you're in a high stress situation, my focus is on de-escalating the drama. Different ways we can do this. Sometimes you can look away for a moment, look at the ground, look around the room, break that eye contact for a moment so it helps decrease the escalating stress. Another thing I like to do is to take my thoughts away from the immediate situation and try and think about the bigger picture. Think about the bigger picture. Like this moment, this situation may be awful. I'm being attacked. They're pointing out all my failures that I've ever done in my entire life. And yet, my life is bigger than this. Like, I'm bigger than this. And I want to focus on my confidence in that aspect, that, this is a blip in the big picture, in the great scheme of my life. And I'm going to focus on my confidence that I can handle what is happening right now. And by being non-reactive, this communicates that I'm confident and I can handle what is happening. No matter how terrible it seems at this exact moment, I can handle what is happening. Now, there's one thing I've learned recently, and in fact, my daughter used it on me the other day, and that is to use a calm giggle. You know, when looking down, and just maybe a hand over the mouth and just a little calm giggle is a nonverbal way of communicating, I know I'm going to be okay. No matter how terrible the situation is right now, I know I'm going to be okay. Now, this is a little bit risky, especially if you make eye contact and look directly at the person and start laughing. It can be misinterpreted as I'm laughing at you, and that becomes a threatening situation. So this one, and a giggle's hard to fake. It's really hard to fake. So one thing is to think about the bigger picture, find the calm within yourself, and not be so focused on the escalating situation. Try to de-escalate the drama. When you're being attacked, non-reactive, think about the big picture, and be confident that you can handle what is happening. This is what we want to communicate, and it helps set others at ease as well, I find. So that is number 6. And this one, I have to say, I still need a lot of work on. I'm still working on it because it's easy for me to get caught up in the drama. But this is so effective when done well. So that is number 6. This is a great way to help show that you're confident, you're calm in the situation, and that you want to share it with others and help others de-escalate the situation as well. You don't want to leave them stranded, but staying calm and focusing on what needs to be done. Good. And the final step, we're about a half hour into this, and the final step, and the most important habit, actually, the most important habit of all, for you to be able to use the habits, simple habits that experts use to capture attention and command respect, is to practice. That's it. The only way to truly capture the attention of others, draw them in, eager to listen to your every word, and to earn the respect you deserve, is to practice. So basically use the past 6 tips and suggestions that I've mentioned here to continue on your journey. None of these, it's not a switch that you can flip on and off, or at least it's not for me. If you know a way to just instantly be perfect at all of these, do let me know. But it's practice. It's experimenting, as I mentioned, with eye contact, trying it out, taking it a step too far, and then watching how people react, reeling it in, adjusting it to match you, your personality, and the situation. Because that's the other thing. There's not one specific thing that works 100% of the time in every situation. You have to kind of adjust and evaluate as we go through life. But that's the fun part sometimes. So those are all of the things that I wanted to share with you today. I'm really glad that you're here. I'm really glad that we got to interact. One thing I would recommend is that you connect also with the people who are attending this, are like-minded people learning about similar things, and we can connect. That's one of the wonderful things about LinkedIn. And as I mentioned, I'm packaging all of these notes up for you in a LinkedIn carousel or a LinkedIn PDF. I will send you a link for it. So just send me a private message, send me a heart, give me a love. Let me know what you thought about it. Ask any questions. Sometimes questions come up after the event has finished. Let's engage. Let's continue the conversation, and I'll share that with you. Hi, Peter. Thank you. Thank you for that heart. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it from you. And I appreciate you all being here. Shirley, I hope that you were able to listen and hear the audio. I assume you can because you didn't leave. And yeah, Peter, glad you were here. And Roman, I appreciate you being here as well. Thumbs up. And I'm going to give, one second. Wait a minute. Yeah, on each one, I'm going to give hearts and claps for each of you. I appreciate you being here and supporting me on my very first LinkedIn live audio event. So I appreciate that. And if there are no further questions, we'll be wrapping up the session here and finishing our lunch meeting, or at least it was lunch for me. So thank you very much. And again, Send me a message and let's continue the conversation outside.